up here and set it right there and leave it all right. This morning I preached to you about Brother David. Man, hey, how he made a splash. Amen? Got out there and fought that giant. We still tell, you know what? You could ask people about Jesus, you can ask people about Noah, but I'll guarantee you that 90% of the people you run into, especially in the state of Oklahoma, they're going to know about David and Goliath. Yes. Everybody knows the story of David and Goliath. The little guy fighting the giant. It's just, even if they're not in church, it's just like a story they tell about the little guy whipping the giant, David and Goliath. Everybody knows about David and Goliath. I'd like to turn to the book of Galatians chapter 3, verse 3. Are you so foolish? After beginning by the means of the Spirit, are you now trying to finish by means of the flesh? I'd like us to pray. Father, I pray, God, that you would help me, Lord God. But Lord Jesus, I feel like, Lord God, that this message I preached this morning needs to be preached. And God, I feel like this one needs to follow. And God, I pray, Lord Jesus, that you would help, Lord God, and help our spirits, Lord God. And let us realize, Lord God, that so many of us sometimes are just one step away. And God, I've been there myself from leaving that city on the hill. I pray, God, that you would help us, Lord Jesus, to learn from Brother David. And Lord God, to draw from it and draw strength. In Jesus' your name. Amen. Amen. Sister, would you mind bringing up 2 Samuel chapter 11, verse 2? I'm going to begin reading. One evening, David got up from his bed and walked around on the roof of his palace. From the roof, he saw a woman bathing. The woman was very beautiful. And David sent someone to find out about her. The man said, she is Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, and the wife. Man, that should have been it. End of story. To be honest with you, when he caught her bathing and he saw her, you know what, if she's bathing, we know what she was dressed at. She didn't have nothing on. He should have turned his head, shouldn't he? David sent someone to find out about her. The man says she is Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, and the wife of Uriah the Hittite. She's married. It ain't his wife. That ought to be the end of the story, shouldn't it, Brother Jerry? He should go in there and go, hey, God, I'm sorry about that. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. Then David sent messengers to get her. She came to him and he slept with her. Now she was purifying herself from the uncleansing. Then she went back home. The woman conceived and sent word to David saying, I am pregnant. Man, things, you know what? When you get away from God and you start doing what, has anybody ever been there? Things snowball. I'm telling you, you can be raised, you can be going to church on Sunday morning, and if you're not walking with God, and if you don't keep that entheos, in God, that closeness with God, if you don't keep that close, it's more than going to church. It's keeping a closeness with God. Yes, keeping your spirit and God's spirit like this. You know, my wife goes to work, I go to work, we go separate ways, but you know what? God still goes with me. Amen? I can stay close to God. I don't care. I stay close to my family. I don't care. You know what? My mom lives in Sand Springs. My natural dad, I've never even met. I'm not close as I'd like to be with them sometimes. You know what I mean? But God says, listen, if you don't stay close to me, things snowball, Brother Jared. Have you ever been there? Brother Jared shaking his head. Okay. You can know God, and if you don't stay close to God, you will find yourself doing things. I want to read you a story of a man that I read you this morning, how great he was. He became the king because he did such a great and mighty thing. Because God said, listen, he's a man after my own heart. He doesn't look back. He just does what I say. He knows I'm with him. And you can get so full of yourself that there ain't no room for God. Or you can find yourself, you know what, can I tell you how it starts? You start missing church every once in a while. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not speaking as your pastor right this minute. I'm speaking as somebody sat on the pew and knows what it means to get kind of cold. You know, in Revelation, God said, listen, I would rather you were cold and didn't even know me or hot, but this lukewarm stuff is going to make me sick in my stomach and I'm going to spew you out of my mouth. Yes. I don't like it. God doesn't like it when we sit there and we play church. Guess what? You might fool everybody in this church. Woo, good for you. You might fool everybody in this town. Woo, good for you. But that song we sang earlier, every knee is going to bow and every tongue is going to confess who the Lion and the Lamb are. And you can sit there and say what you want and you can think what you want. But I'm telling you, if you don't stay close to God, David was king. In the words of MC Hammer, you can't touch that. You can't touch that. That's what he thought. He thought, hey, I can do what I want. I can take another man's wife. I can commit adultery with her. I can get her pregnant. Now he's like, I didn't plan this out. I didn't think this. How many of y'all ever been there? You know what I was told about sin? You want to know a secret about sin? An old preacher told me, and this is probably 30 years ago at least. He said, sin will take you farther than you wanted to go, and it'll keep you there longer than you wanted to stay. Amen. That's pretty simple. Sin is no respecter of persons. If it gets a hold of you, guess what? David thought, you know what? I'm going to commit adultery. Nobody ever, hey, go back home. I'm pregnant. My husband's out in the war. So how are you going to explain that? Can you imagine David? I didn't think about that. So many times we're like, man, I'll just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it won't cause no trouble. And next thing you know, a police officer's pulling you over. The dog, you got it at school, and the drug sniffing dog comes around and finds it in your locker. Hey man, you're fooling around at a young age, and all of a sudden the young lady gets pregnant, or you are the young lady and you get pregnant. Sin takes you further than you wanted to go, and it keeps you there a lot longer than you plan on staying. I want you to see how Brother David, that was on top of the world, man of God, doing everything for God. 1 minute. King becomes king of all of Israel and Judah. They've been kind of split up. He becomes king of everything. He's like, I got it made. So David sent word to Joab, send me Uriah the Hittite, because I got to cover my tracks. And Joab sent him to David. When Uriah came to him, David asked him how Joab was, how the soldiers were doing, and how the war was going. He could care less about that. He was trying to figure out how he could cover up the fact that he'd gotten this man's wife pregnant. Then David said to Uriah, go down to your house and wash your feet. So Uriah left his palace and a gift from the king was sent after him. But Uriah slept at the entrance of the palace with all his master's servant and did not go down to his house. David was told Uriah did not go home, so he asked Uriah, haven't you just come from the military campaign? Why didn't you go home? Uriah said to David, the ark and Israel and Judah are staying in the tents, and my commander Joab and my Lord's men are camped in the open country. How could I go to my house and eat and drink and meet my wife? And surely, as you live, I will not do such a thing. Do you know what the worst part about all this was to me? This man's an honorable man. This is one of the king's men. Doing what the king, and he's being loyal to God and to his king. He's being loyal to his other men. He's being loyal to his men. He's like, listen, how could I live it up when all my buddies are out there dying for you and dying for me? I couldn't do that. Then David said to him, stay here one more day, and tomorrow I will send you back. So Uriah remained in Jerusalem that day and the next. And David, at David's invitation, he ate and drank with him. And David made him drunk. But in the evening, Uriah went out to sleep on his mat among his master's servants, and he did not go home. David's like, man, I just can't defile this guy. I wish he was like me and was kind of a sorry dog and would go do what I want him to do. Isn't that funny? Now, I want you to think about this. You know what is so funny to me? Is when we get out and say, you know what I've always said? You know what they say? Misery likes company. Sinners like company. You want to know something? When you're out there and you're sinning, you're not going to be asking people to go to church. You're going to be asking people to sin with you. Because you're like, you know what? I wish you were as dirty as I am. Then I might feel a little cleaner. Matter of fact, I really wish you'd get even dirtier so that I'd look better. I don't know why it is. We like the Brother Jared, we like to stand on the shoulders of somebody else. It's like, you know what? If I could get you down in the dirt where I could stand up a little taller, I'd feel better about myself. Sin likes to drag everybody down with it. And that's the honest truth. You know what is really hard for me to understand, Brother Dakota, is the fact that I don't understand how. I said Dakota. I don't know why I even said. I was looking right at Kamari and I said Dakota. You look just like him. No. You know why we do this, brother? I want you to remember during this whole story that I'm talking about the king of Israel. I'm talking about the giant slayer. I'm talking about the guy that was making ways for God. How in the world do we find ourselves in the spots we find ourselves in sometimes? I wouldn't tell this except for I'm going to tell it because of that song. We can't hardly do that song, and I can't hardly say that, you know, not ashamed of those scars. You know, when I was a younger man, matter of fact, when I was a teenager, guys, I did some stuff I swore I would never do. I swore I would never do any more than drink alcohol. I said I'd never do drugs, and I got to doing marijuana. And then I swore that I'd never do hard drugs. But you know, when you're drunk or you're high, you do about anything. And the next thing you know, I felt like the rich, not the rich, I felt like the prodigal son. I woke up in a hog pen going, how in the world did I get here? I swore I'd never do this. I swore I'd never do this. I swore I'd never do. And look at where I am. I feel for Brother David because I know good and well that he had no idea that he was going to go like this. He thought, I'll just do this one little sin. No, but I'll just tell this one little white lie. I'll just cheat this one little thing at school. I'll just cheat this one little thing at work. I'll just tell this one little lie and it won't. Guess what? It usually takes 10 lies to cover up the first one. Amen. It's like a snowball effect. I don't know what it is, but that's the way sin is, and it's always going to be that. But you know why? Because Satan knows that. Have you ever seen, they used to have years ago, young people, they used to have a thing they called a traveling salesman. And his best deal was that if he could ever get you to open the door, and if he could get his foot in the door, you couldn't shut the door. That's the way the devil is. He's like, now wait a minute. He gets his foot in the door and he starts trying to sweet talk you. Oh, I got to tell you, my wife got a call the other day, said she won $275,000. And all she had to do was send them 1% to pay some kind of penalty or some kind of filing fee or something, a tax on it. 1%. She said, I tell you what, that's just wonderful news. Why don't you just send me all the paperwork, I'll look it over and I'll see what I think. Oh, no, you can't. Oh, just send me, click, hung up. But the sad thing is, there's a lady at work that she works with, the mother of this lady, she fell for it, and she sent her money. That's all the devil does. He sits here and he tries to just, man, if I can just get my toe in the door, and I can start talking to you about how good it's going to be, look how pretty Bathsheba is. Man, she's beautiful. Man, she's got to be the prettiest girl I've ever seen. Whoo! I got to have that. I'm king. Ain't no reason why I can't have that. Next thing, it's just like going out of control here. This man won't be corrupted, so what happens in the morning? David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it with Uriah. Now listen how far. It's not bad enough he's committed adultery. It's not bad enough he's trying to cover his tracks and gets this girl pregnant. In it, he wrote, put Uriah out in the front where the fighting is the furious. Where is the fierce? Now listen to this. Then withdraw from him. This man is an honorable, good man. Then withdraw from him, so he will be struck down and die. So while Joab had the city under siege, he put Uriah at the place where he knew the strongest defenders were. When the men of the city came out and fought against Joab, now listen to this one, some of the men of David's army fell. Moreover, Uriah the Hittite died. Joab sent David a full account of the battle. He instructed the messenger, when you have finished giving the king this account of the battle, the king's anger may flare up, and he may ask you, why did you get so close to the city to fight? Didn't you know there would be shots of arrows from the walls? Who killed Amalek, son of Jorabesheth. Didn't a woman drop an upper millstone on him from a wall so that he died in Thesbith? Why did you get so close to the wall? If he asks you this, then say to him, moreover, your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead. Not only did David commit murder, send this man out there and say, listen, I want you to kill him, but I want you to make it look like it was part of the war. His web of deceit, his web of sin has gotten so big. Not only did he kill this honorable man, he killed some of his friends, some of his own soldiers. This one guy, I'm guessing, was a buddy of his. Said his anger's going to get mad. He's going to get mad that you let one of his buddies get killed. But you remind him, and listen, he died, but we also got rid of the one you wanted to get rid of. So, hey, it all balances out. Does it? Does it really balance out? The messenger set out, and when they arrived, he told David everything Joab had sent him to say. The messenger said to David, the men overpowered us and came out against us in open, but we drove them back to the entrance of the city gate. When the archers shot arrows at your servants from the walls, and some of the king's men died, moreover, your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead. David told the messenger, I think that might have been this 25. That was as far as I wanted to go. I won't read the rest of that. But I want you to show you something. I have talked to, now listen to me, young people.